Scaling your law firm doesn't have to be difficult. It's all about mastering a few key strategies, systems, and mindsets. Welcome to the Scalable Law Podcast, where we talk about how you can increase profit in your pocket and time in your calendar. My name is Carolee Fontanelli, and I have successfully scaled my firm so that it doesn't solely rely on me. Now I love teaching other law firm owners how to do the same. Let's transform your business starting now. Welcome to another podcast episode of Scalable Law. I am your host, Carolee Fontanelli. So, what has been happening in the world of law of late? Of course, there is always plenty of talk about AI and how that's going to affect us in law. It's really interesting. I saw a post from someone in a group talking about AI and how they fear it's going to affect us as lawyers as we move into the future. I believe it is the best time to be in law. It is the most exciting time to be a lawyer with AI and how it is going to positively change our industry and positively change our law firms. So I'm really excited, and I hope that you are too. I encourage you to just try things out. Hop on to different AI apps and try it out and see what you can do with it. We're using AI a lot, and it's so beneficial in our law practice, whether it's from the marketing side of the firm or whether it is legal service delivery. There is so much that we can do with it. Anyway, that is my take for now, and I'm definitely going to be doing more podcasts in the future about AI. But for now, as I promised, I would extend on our transition and migration in my law practice from Leap over to Clio and what that looks like. So last week, we really touched on why I moved from Leap and why I chose Clio, and a little bit about the migration and what it took to do the migration. But today I'd really like to dig in a little bit deeper as to what that really looked like for our law firm and what you might expect in your law firm if you are deciding to transition from one practice management system to the other. Whether you're thinking about making a similar change like we did in our law firm, or you are in the thick of it right now, this episode is here to help you avoid common pitfalls and give you some framework for a much smoother transition. I know for me in my law firm, it was really scary thinking about the disruption and how it would affect workflow, how it would affect clients. So we really wanted it to be as smooth as possible. And I honestly believe with the help of Femke, my operations manager, we managed an incredibly smooth transition given it was such a large job, and we've had minimum impact on clients and workflow. So let's get into knowing what you need to do to get a similar result. So step one for us was really knowing what we needed in our new platform and what we needed in the changeover as well. When we'd been on the same platform for over a decade, switching systems isn't something that you do at a whim. It's definitely something that needs a lot of planning. So I can't stress enough that the planning was so important for us. I've spoken to other law firms who want to do the transition, but they've left themselves about 3 months to make the decision from the start to do the transition, and that's simply not enough time. In my view, you need to have a runway of at least 6 months from having made the decision about where you're going to and what platform you're going to change to. So to get started with us, as I said, we already knew that we wanted to make the transition from Leap to Clio, and we gave ourselves a year. And the reason we gave ourselves a year is we had a contract with Leap that we could not get out of earlier than that. So upon that contract ending in 1 year's time, we just decided to start mapping out everything very early, and we knew already at that point that we were moving to Clio. So having clear direction really helped a lot. What we then started to do is we started with a clear understanding about what our firm needed, and we asked ourselves things like, what tools were we missing from the current situation that we had with Leap, so the current platform? What tools were missing from potentially moving over to Clio? What didn't they provide? So for example, Clio doesn't provide a precedent bank. So we needed to make sure our precedent bank was up to date and could be easily coded into Clio. What integrations did we wish that we had, and what integrations could hook in with Clio? Where were the inefficiencies in our business? So one of the things that used to drive us crazy was documents. We'd load up some consent orders. Our lawyers would fill out consent orders and spend hours doing it, and then they'd be lost off Leap somehow. And it would drive us nuts. And so what we ended up having to do constantly was put them on our desktop, fill out the forms that way, and then upload them back into Leap, and that was completely inefficient. So we definitely knew that we needed more efficiencies there. So we researched tools that we could integrate into Clio that would really help us. And how were our team members actually going to be using the new platform? So what was missing from where they were now, and what, benefit could we have there? The other thing that I was looking at as a law firm owner, as a business owner, was the incoming clients and the efficiency of being able to connect our email newsletter to our practice management software, to be able to connect our forms and calendar to our practice management software. So that was a big deal to me. So that was moving from Leap, who didn't have any of that, which made a lot of things in our firm inefficient, to moving to Clio, where you can integrate Clio Grow and you can easily have all of that linked into the system. So we never had to download lists again to do emails out or anything like that. So that created a massive efficiency for us. And then the other thing is we do use Calendly, and then we have questionnaires that go out to clients. It's all automated. And then what we would have to do previously with Leap, we would get those questionnaires back, and then we would have to manually enter that data from the questionnaires into the client management system. So with Clio Grow, it all integrates and it automatically uploads into the client management system. So it's actually amazing and saves a lot of time. So those were the kind of efficiencies that we were looking for, and where we could start to automate even more in our firm. So we did this internal audit and really identified what our next system had to deliver and what it couldn't lack. Because remember, no system is perfect, right? No system has everything, but it was what it couldn't lack, what was absolutely our priorities for us, and what we could actually integrate. And the amazing thing about Clio is there are so many integrations because it is such a huge company. They are constantly running updates, and they are very collaborative with so many other platforms that it integrates really easily. So knowing what we needed was really important. And I think this made the planning easier, and it really helped us to set up successfully. The second thing was researching tools that fitted in with what we needed and in with Clio. There was a huge cost savings for us moving from Leap to Clio. And what that meant was that we had extra money in our budget to be able to buy other amazing tech that can integrate into Clio. So it allowed us to build out a system that works really well for us and can give us everything that we needed. So we were looking at different integrations and capabilities. There was a bunch of tech that we already had, which would integrate well into Clio. So those things were Xero, Outlook, and Calendly. We were already using all of those. And we knew the move over to Clio was going to be great because those three products that we used all the time would integrate really well into our new practice management system. So that was awesome. The other thing I really loved about Clio was that they offer a really awesome client portal, which helps with communicating with the client. Obviously, if we can cut down those phone calls and unnecessary, putting documents together for a client who's lost all their documents, for example, that saves the client a lot of money and it helps us to be more efficient in their matter because we've got more time to actually do substantive law rather than, say compiling a whole lot of documents or emails that they've already received. But often clients, as we know, aren't overly organized. So having a client portal allows for them to be uploaded really easily just with a tick on the documents, which ones you want into the portal. And then the client has access to everything they need regarding their matter and nothing is going to get lost. So that works really well. The reporting is really great on Clio, and that's so important to me as a law firm owner who lives by the data over drama, as I always say, because the data in our firm drives business decisions and helps us to make our next best hires, what marketing we're doing, what marketing we're focusing on, where we're spending our money. And without that reporting, it makes it really hard because it becomes really manual. So Clio worked really well like that. Now, in terms of documents, because we were saving so much money moving from Leap to Clio, we were able to integrate Smarter Drafter into Clio, which is an amazing product that absolutely assists and helps with the production of documents. Smarter Drafter is a smarter way of drafting, and they do really help with the production of documents such as consent orders, initiating applications, responses, divorce applications, all of those sorts of things for us in family law. Those documents are really important, and Smarter Drafter allows us to do it in a way more efficient way. It's very automated, and so that has been an excellent integration for us into Clio. The other tool and upgrade that we really wanted during our changeover, and again, because we had extra money in the budget, because Clio was nowhere near as expensive as Leap, we could then also implement VXT, which is a phone system specifically for law firms that integrates into practice management software. And it also transcribes, it automatically time records, you can leave messages to other people in the firm. It is next level amazing. So that is something that we were able to integrate into our new practice management system as well. And the other thing that I did, which I definitely recommend you do if you are looking at moving from one practice management system to another, is to connect with other law firm owners and hear firsthand experiences, not just about their transition, but also about their new practice management system and if they are happy with it. I have talked to many law firms before who have gone to a new practice management system. Maybe they haven't had as good a runway, so it doesn't go very well. It's very stressful and hectic, and then they spend all that money and then bounce straight back to their old practice management system. I've heard of that happening before. I've also heard of amazing experiences where people have had this business-changing new system put in, and it makes all the difference. And so when I was researching and, wanting to move over to Clio, I definitely did connect with other law firms who had told me how amazing Clio was and how much it had changed their business and created a whole lot of new efficiencies for them. So that is something I do recommend you do. Go and have conversations, hear some experiences so that you are as informed as possible. So the next big thing that you need to do, step number 3, is finding a migration partner. So this was a turning point for us because we found a migration partner. So this is an expert who can move all your data, all your documents, everything you've got on one practice management system over to another, and they can do it smoothly and easily without you having to do it yourself, which could be a nightmare. What a migration partner will also do is they will set up your new system and customize it for your firm as much as possible. Now, some practice management systems don't have customizable features, so you might not need to do that, but others do. And so that was one of the benefits and appeals for us with Clio, is that we could customize Clio to fit exactly what we needed as a family law practice. So that really helped, and our migration partner did that for us. Now, we were introduced to a migration partner, and we also interviewed multiple other migration partners, and we decided to go with the one who we were introduced to, and it was the right decision for us. Now, it's not an inexpensive exercise. It definitely has a cost built in, and that cost can be quite significant depending on the size of your practice. But think about the cost of doing it yourself, the mistakes, the in-house cost, it would be quite huge. So we decided not to DIY and do it ourselves. We wanted it to be as stress-free as possible. And remember, with all these sorts of things, it's like getting a plumber over to your house, right? If you've got leaky pipes, you are not going to hesitate getting a plumber over to get it fixed because they're an expert. And it's exactly the same with moving from one practice management system to another. I know a lot of law firms try and DIY, and that's why it is so stressful. One of the reasons it can be so stressful. So it really is an expertise area. The other thing that I really liked about our migration partner is that they move practice management systems for law firms like 2 or 3 times a week. And it's not just from Leap to Clio, it's from, Action Step to Smokeball, or from, Leap to Smokeball, or from Leap to Clio. So what I really liked about him was that he had no bias about the different practice management systems. He did advise us about some different practice management systems. He didn't try and sell us anything. He simply told us what all of the benefits are and where there are some points that we might struggle with. So he did point some of that out as well. Because like I said, there is no perfect practice management system out there. They all have, their pros and cons. It's really looking for the one that has the more pros for your firm. And for us, that was Clio. So many pros, it just ticked so many boxes. And really for us, there were very little cons apart from the fact that it's getting used to a new practice management system. But that's going to have to happen at some point. So we just got it over and done with. So we did engage a migration expert in Australia, and he did understand both the technical side and the legal practice side, which was really, really helpful. As I said, he does that sort of thing day in and day out. If you want to know who that is, you can absolutely reach out to me and I will connect you, no problems at all. So our migration partner helped us with mapping out data fields between the systems, cleaning up unnecessary, outdated information. He set up the structure for Clio, which was so awesome because now we've got a customized platform for us because Clio does allow you to do a lot of customization, which is awesome. He set up realistic expectations about what could and couldn't be done. And we did a whole lot of training with him as well and our team. So not only did we get amazing training from Clio, but we also got training and support from him. This really was one of the best decisions that we made. When we came into a few little humps along the way, which you've got to expect that's going to happen, he supported us. So one of our major humps was that Leap would not allow us to take our documents with us. What should happen when you're migrating is that you should be able to simply download your documents that you own, that your law firm owns, and your law firm is obliged to keep for more than 7 years. You should be able to download those and upload them into your new practice management system. But what kept happening is that Leap would block us. So we would download 200 documents or 100 documents and then they would block us and they would actually shut our entire Leap system down. they would prevent Femke, my operations manager, from using her Leap. And this is when we were paying subscription fees. We were still Leap customers, and they knew that we were migrating because we had told them we were doing so. And they continued to block us and to say that we were a threat and we were not allowed to download any documents. So in order to get our documents, they raised an invoice for $14,000, and then they told us that if we wanted to get our documents, we could get them that way. The other way we could get them would be to download 99 at a time, because they wouldn't let us download any more than 100 documents at a time, which is absolutely ludicrous, because the reality is that, sometimes if you are doing a file handover to another law firm, you may have to download more than 100 documents. That's no problem for them, but it became very problematic when we were trying to migrate. So in the end, our migration agent supported us as much as he could. In that area, we had lots of backwards and forwards with Leap, and at the end of the day, we were forced to pay a $14,000 fee. So that was really disappointing. It is my understanding, however, that Leap is the only practice management software that does that. It is their common practice to do that. It seems like it is there, from what I can hear from other law firm owners, there is a lot of inconsistency about how they negotiate that outcome with different firms. That's just my experience and what happened in my law firm. But having the migration agent there to advise me was really helpful as we went along. So step 4 is creating a timeline. We did not rush, as I have said before. We had a very long runway, which made a massive difference for us. So I definitely recommend that you do that. So that what we basically did in our timeline is we prepared and cleaned up, and we identified what we needed to migrate and what we needed to clean up. We tested everything. We set everything up with our migration expert, and we tested the environment on the new platform. We did a lot of training with our staff, building up staff confidence through the structured sessions, so they also had in their mind and knew for months in advance that we were going to be doing the changeover, which really helps because lawyers don't like things sprung on them. So that was really awesome. And then finally on the timeline was to go live and have support, launching the new system and ensuring that it worked well without any glitches. So we planned that out, and we planned it out so that we still had 8 weeks on our subscription with Leap. So all of our matters and documents and everything was still in Leap, and everything was working on Clio. Everyone started then working on Clio. We ceased working with Leap, but it was all there if we needed it. So that was really helpful. So step 5 was the transition itself. Was it a fairly seamless transition? Pretty well. It was pretty good, but nothing is perfect, and there are going to be things that you need to iron out. And because we had given ourselves enough time, that was no issue. And because we also had our migration support, that also helped a lot as well. And we also had at that time staff buy-in, because we had been working with our team for so long that they knew that the transition was happening. They had lots of training, and we did everything possible to avoid any major disruption. The person that was probably disrupted the most was Femke, who was my operations manager at the firm, and she deals with everything to do with the trust account and accounts and all of that kind of thing. So that was probably the most difficult part, and she was probably the most disrupted by everything, but she had it all into her control because she had done so much training and so much prep. It is definitely a big task, but it's not an impossible task. And if it's done right and you have chosen a really great practice management system that's supportive, that will help you, that's customizable, that integrates well, exactly like Clio, then it is not an impossible task that is going to be super stressful. it will actually do the opposite, and it will transform your firm's operations and free up a lot of time for you as a business owner. For us, the move to Clio has been 100% worth it, not just because of the cost savings. Yes, there is that, but we've been able to integrate other software, which is amazing, like VXT and Smarter Drafter, which has helped our firm a lot. But we've also gained a platform that is way more efficient, that has an incredible client onboarding process and Clio Grow, that it helps with the marketing, that's got excellent reporting, as well as what you expect from an excellent practice management system where you have all your client work stored and systemized and your workflows are working well for you. So that's what Clio has done for us. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. I do want to get Femke on the podcast, as I keep saying. That is going to happen. But if you've got any questions about Clio, or you'd like an introduction to someone at Clio to assist you with your move, or the migration partner that we used, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to send you an email with an introduction so that you can start your research as well. Until next time, here's to working on your business and not just in it. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Scalable Law Podcast, brought to you by the Scalable Business Lounge. If you would love to know how you can get more clients without relying on referrals, head over to scalablelaw.com to watch my free masterclass. Until next time, you have got this.